Okay, so as promised, here comes the Iran de-escalation video. It's a bit late because of stuff, but it doesn't really matter now, it's here now. So if we go through this one, some of the stuff Iran could do to stop de-escalation, or to, sorry, start de-escalation with the US. Stop arming anti-US militias, or at least rein them in a bit. Anti-US or anti-US interests, whatever they may be. So stop arming Hezbollah, stop arming the the Houthi rebels, and some of the Shia militias within Iraq, or at least rein them in. So the embassy was attacked by Shia militia and also Sunni militia as well. Whatever control or sort of influence Iran has on them, it'd be a good idea to try and rein them in to stop them from attacking US embassies or US assets. Give more guarantees about civilians. So to be fair, Iran did this, so I think this one's a moot point when I came up with my notes, because Iran and Hezbollah said they wouldn't attack civilians purposefully. There was the plane incident, but I'll get into that in a few minutes. Or actually, I'll do it now. So the plane was shot down reportedly by accident by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, and what happened was, whilst Iran was attacking a US base, there's two counter stories. I'm not sure which one is the right one, but one is whilst the US were attacking the base, they saw this plane and they thought it was a drone or something like that, so they shot it down. Another story is that it was just caught in the missile fire on the US base. I don't know which one is accurate, but yeah, I'll try and I'll bring some sources up and see what's going on with that, or I'll put in a correction in the actual video. But yeah, so give more guarantees about civilians, and also allow investigators to come in and see the damage on the plane to figure out what really happened. Give back some prisoners. So Iran has Nazreen Ratcliffe Zahawi, I think her name is. I'll have to check again, that's really unprofessional of me. But she's a US citizen who's been arrested because of claims she's been promoting journalism, which I think is a lie. Also, Boris Johnson said that as well, which didn't help her situation. So yeah, giving back some prisoners that Iran has of foreign nationals, that would help de-escalate things. Come back to the negotiating table. So Trump has, and this will go into the US sort of segment as well, but Trump has been talking about promoting a Trump deal. Johnson also said that he wants to renegotiate the Iran nuclear deal. And so by Iran coming back to the negotiating table, even if they don't give any concessions, they can try and get some light relief of sanctions. That's something North Korea did, and I'll do a separate video on what North Korea did really well and what Iran should have done in this, because they're in a similar situation, what Iran should have done instead of what they did. So that'll be another video as well coming out, hopefully sometime this week or next week, depending on how much I really want to do that one. But yeah, that should be done. Stop enriching uranium higher than to the agreed level. So the UK, Germany and France have brought they've triggered a clause which brings the Iran deal into disrepute because Iran has enriched uranium higher than the agreed level. So what that means is they've enriched past the point of power production towards nuclear missile capabilities, basically. And so if they stop enriching uranium higher than that agreed level, that's gonna slow tensions down, essentially, because this is one of the things that's escalating it. Political, and finally they could do some political reforms as well. So stop clamping down on protesters is a good idea. That's for any dictatorial country or any democratic country. Don't be very careful how you deal with protesters, because the more violent you are with them, the more things will escalate very quickly. Giving more powers away to Iran's leader Hassan Rouhani, that might be a good idea as well. But some political reforms to that, Iran is changing, and we're not some backwards dictatorship, which we are. Even allowing women to have more freedom might also be a good idea, because it shows that they're not a mad backwards country. That's something Saudi Arabia did. But it was still really dodgy, because they arrested the original women, sort of the leaders of the women's movement, who were just trying to drive, essentially, and not be under the thumb of their guardian, be it their husband or the brother or dad, whoever their legal guardian is. So yeah, but if Iran does some political reforms or social reforms, that would also be a great thing. That could also help de-escalate things slightly, to show that they're sort of becoming a bit more westernized, I guess, or democratic at least. And these are the things that the US could do. So relieve some of the sanctions. So the sanctions that Trump has put on are very aggressive. They also stop things like medicines coming in. So if you have cancer treatments, or you have diabetes, it means you can't get certain medicines because they've been sanctioned. Other countries can't trade those things with Iran without suffering from the US, as we covered in the last video with the Huawei CFO, where she was arrested because of allegations that Huawei was illegally trading with Iran. And so anyone who gets caught trading with Iran violating US sanctions, you put yourself in a very precarious position. So relieving some of the sanctions would be helpful if you want to de-escalate things, especially because it will help a lot of Iranian people as well. Because if you're rich, you can get the stuff you need, but if you're poorer, getting things like insulin or whatever treatments you need will be very difficult. So that's one way the US could de-escalate things. Stop tweeting threats as well, because idiot Donny, he keeps tweeting threats like, we have 51 targets, and that's really bad Donald Trump impression. But yeah, they have 51 targets in their sites, cultural exhibits and things like that, and we could destroy Iran or flatten the country or whatever threats he's come out with specifically. And so stop tweeting threats and stop threatening in general. Threats are always a way of escalating tensions. It's like, if you say to someone, I'm going to fight you, it's always going to escalate regardless of what happens next. So yeah, threatening people is never a good idea if you want to de-escalate tensions. The US could go back to the agreed nuclear deal. So it was the US originally. Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal originally. And so what Trump could do is go back to the agreed deal, right, and add some modifications if he wants to. Minor ones like he did with NAFTA and TPP, TPP, sorry, the USMCA, where he added some minor tweaks and he tried to make out like it was a new deal. That's what Trump essentially wants. And so what Trump could do in this situation is talk about, look, we want these terms in, and we'll come back to the negotiating table as well. So that's a good way of de-escalating tensions, and relieving some of the sanctions will come part of that. And also another way the US could de-escalate tensions is mediating peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So we know that according to the Iraqi leadership, that Soleimani was actually going to Saudi Arabia to talk up some sort of peace negotiations. Because these two countries, they are right next to each other, and there was a lot of tension between them, and so that was what Soleimani's aim was. So if the US, even though it would be a biased mediator, that's also an option as well. Bring Saudi Arabia and Iran together and bring Iran back into the international fold, and kind of outside of the axis of the Iran-China stronghold, and bring them back in to the kind of the Western powers, the Western axis, which is not really much better, but it is objectively bad. But yeah, mediating peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia, and also bringing Iran back into the international fold would be a good idea. I mean, you can argue that Iran is a rogue nation essentially, and it backs terrorist groups and it's committed some atrocious actions, but you could level all of those same allegations against Saudi Arabia. And we're playing politics. It's not about human rights as it should be. It's not about altruism, but it's about being practical in this situation, which is unfortunate, but that's the game we have to play. And so mediating peace between a country like Saudi Arabia and Iran, bringing Iran back into the international fold, that would be a way of de-escalating things. And I think these are some of the key things that these two countries could do to de-escalate tensions. And in another video, which I'm going to do soon, I'm talking about what the situation looks like it's heading to. It looks like it's heading towards a stalemate of what it was pre the Iran nuclear deal. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do a timeline video as well. So tell me what you guys think. How could these countries de-escalate? Do you think #World War III is going to happen? Let me know in the comments below, and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.